What's going on, game players, brothers, and sisters? I want to welcome you guys to Listener Feedback, episode number 24. And in this episode will be starring the OG, Cody Clark, has returned for another week. We also have Crimson Phoenix, who has returned as well. Thank you very much, brother, for being here. And we have one Subset Tekken is in the building as well. And to round out the cast for this week, we have returning yet again, Mr. Free Fly Barrett. Yes, sir, Fly, brother, Fly. It is so great to have you guys here. Thank you, the listeners, for tuning in to another episode. It's always appreciated. The support is fantastic. It keeps a brother going. You just don't understand. But thank y'all. And because we got another full cast this week, it's no need of me padding out the show with gaming news. So this is a bonus for me, brothers and sisters. But as always, let me let you guys know that if you want to be a part of the next listener feedback episode, which will be recorded next Wednesday, you can do it two different ways. Either call in at 443-216-9934 and let that voice of yours be heard, god dog it. Or you can email the show, and the email address is the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Yes, indeed. So guys, let me tell y'all something, man. This was a heck of a week. Well, last week, going into this week, heck of a week for Xbox. Assassin Phil is out there shooting, man. Shout out to that guy. Shout out to him and his team for having MLB 21 releasing in Game Pass day and date. It just feels so good as an Xbox fan to finally see that Phil Spencer and the team over there at Xbox is literally out there fighting. They're finally fighting and getting aggressive. And I tell you, Phil Spencer, woo, man, that brother pulled one this week, because this whole time I've said Phil Spencer just seems like a nice guy, man. He seems too nice to do any kind of maneuvers like this. Who the world expected Phil Spencer to come out there and say, you know what? Not only is your game going to be available on I jumped the gun, god dog it, but be available on Xbox day and date. And we understand that was the MLB's call. We know that wasn't Sony. Sony had to, agree with the MLB. Okay, it'll be multi-plat. But just the sheer fact that it coming to Xbox wasn't enough. Phil Spencer went out there and said, you know what? Day and date and Game Pass, we need that. And sure enough, day and date. What an amazing move, man. I mean, absolutely incredible to see. I know we talked about it on Sunday, but it's just fantastic, man. And who knows what's next? There's a rumor going around right now that's saying that Destroy All Humans is going to be one of the next games that's going to be available in Game Pass. Now, whether or not that's true, that and The Blob, that game's been around for forever. Those are supposed to be the next ones up going into Game Pass, but we will see, though. We'll see. But I have rambled long enough, so let's go ahead and jump into these emails, brothers and sisters. And up first this week, we have Cody Clark writing in. This is the OG right here, who the name of his email is "A Following Follower Follows Up." Oh, shucks, that's a double entendre. Maybe not a double entendre. That's a mouthful, brother. How about that? Now, I saw the article that you linked to me, the Game and Bolt article. Very interesting things said in that article, but let me get to your email here, brother. He says, so, a way I look at it, the Xbox S series versus the X series is consider a basic muscle car, subcompact, car base model 2000. Manual transmission, roll down windows, drum brakes in the back. Basic, cheap economy car. Really basic gets you XX miles per gallon overall. Costs almost nothing. Now look at a new 2021 car, Challenger or Mustang, V8, whatever, and pretend it's the X Series and a base level 2021 is a V6 muscle car. Even if the basic is basic, it's still using new technology, better fuel economy. Most of them have Bluetooth and multi-airbags and tons of power. It's a tribal economy. V8 is better than V6. It's the same argument with the X versus S. I don't need a V8 Challenger if all I want is the look and the feel of the V6. The feel and the V6 gives that to me. Let me read that again, brother. He says, I don't need a V8 Challenger if all I want is the look and the feel of the V6. In the field, the V6 gives that to me. I ain't do no better. God dog. Let me continue on. He says, as the actual engineer for the Xbox Series S points out, the focus of the S is all of the future-proofed features, faster RAM, bigger bus speeds, more powerful core to utilize ray tracing and shaders. So at this point, it is really like the last article I sent said, do you want to pay $200 more for a larger SSD, a disk drive, and native versus upscale 4K? You get everything else. I'm going to circle back to that, good brother. But he says, I also understand that I, in fact, went the long way to get both consoles. Meanwhile, my roommate is still holding out to get it the old school way. At the store near us, physically. But whatever. Yeah, I'm trying to do the same thing, and that way is really, really challenging at the moment. Not only for the PS5, but the Series X. Yeah, it's hard, man. It's still very hard. And we're coming up in like the middle of April. And I figured by now it would have been pretty readily available, but no, it's still not. But let me continue, brother. He says, I think if Sony had done a similar move, nobody would ever have made the, quote, holding back the PS5, end of quote, argument. Meanwhile, drop some massive first-party games, Xbox. Just saying. That is what most people are holding their breath over. I 1000% agree with that, brother. We all know that the games are coming. 23 studios, that's a boatload. That's more studios than Sony has right now. So we know the games are coming, but when, Microsoft? When? But I gotta say, once again, Game Pass, good grief, it is definitely, it's shining right now, brothers. Outriders coming to the service, MLB 21 coming to the service, day and date, both of those. And we know that it's more to come. So that service is absolutely helping to shoot them a little bit of bail while they're getting their titles together. But we know Starfield is coming out. The new Doom, the new Wolfenstein, the new Fable, Senua's Sacrifice is going to be released. We just don't know when, but having these kind of deals with Game Pass, it definitely helps to pad it out and not make it as agonizing of a wait as it has been over the last several years. Now, Cody, I want to point out, and thank you for this email, brother. I really like the analogy about the V6 versus the V8. But what I would say, brother, one of the things that you said that really stood out to me, first off, let me refer back to the article that you sent me, the Gaming Bolt article, because that cleared up a couple of things that seemed like missteps to me, where they had and I forgot the guy's name, Cody, but the man behind the Series X, how he said that people were wondering, why wouldn't we just make the Xbox One X the cheaper model versus having the Series X, become the cheaper model, because it was already on not sale, but it was already being sold. So why couldn't they had made that the primary console, which is what I thought would have been the better move. But he said that they couldn't get that price point down to where they needed it to be, so they scrapped it. The One X just wasn't going to work at the price point they were trying to get it down to, which was very, very kind of telling to me, Cody. But it was very interesting to hear that. And one of the things that you had said here, Cody, which I said I wanted to circle back to, which I'm still skeptical about the Series S. And I understand, basically, like you said, look, if I don't need the V8, but, instead I want to get the V6, it's cheaper and it still gives me a lot of the features as the V8, I'm not losing, I'm winning. And I'm coming in at a cheaper price point. I 100% get that. And for the most part, we talk about it all the time, Cody, that us, the hardcore, we're not the biggest slice of the pie. It's the casuals. They pretty much, they have the higher numbers. It's no way around it. And for someone that's just trying to get into the Xbox ecosystem at the cheapest price point possible, the Series S is definitely a win-win because you get the console, and then on top of that, you get Game Pass. You're set. I mean, you are absolutely good. You're Gucci. For the rest of the time, you have the console at $15 a month. And I have to circle back to another point that you made last week on the show, talking about this value as far as that goes. Having that the program, the Xbox, golly, I forgot the name of the program, but how you can pay for it monthly and have Game Pass included in that not subscription, but that payment plan, that's also a big deal. I think that'll definitely come more to the forefront, like I said, around the holiday season. But the one thing that I'm still skeptical on, brother, when it comes to the Series S is they were talking about ray tracing, and upscaled 4K and all of these kinds of things, where, Cody, we have yet to see the Series S do any of those things, brother, so far. I mean, we know that the Series S is doing 1440p. It's definitely doing that. But we have not seen one report yet that it's able to do 4K. And then you talk about the One X, where we had saw that game doing 4K on Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a taxing game. And just the fact that they couldn't get the One X down to the price point of the Series S, that lets me know that the One X, it had some legs up. It had some one-ups that the Series S just didn't have. Now, granted, the Series S also has their one-ups too, where it has faster loading times. It has the 1440p resolution going, 60 frames per second as well. That's also a fantastic feature that we're seeing the Series S be able to do. But it not being able to do ray tracing in 4K, I don't know, brother. I don't know. I mean, versus the One X. I mean, yeah, is that right? The Series X. Man, these names get confusing after a while. Seeing that that's able to do 4K with ray tracing and the One S isn't able to do 4K with ray tracing, it's still it's still off. And I get it. It's $200 cheaper, so you're not gonna have that same bang for your buck, but it will get you into the ecosystem. I get that. But to me, it's still yet to be seen if it doesn't hold back the Series X. I'm still not sold, Cody. I understand that the guy that we were talking about over at Remedy, you exposed him. As Hard 8 would say, shout out to that good brother. Exposed. You definitely put me onto something I had no idea was a thing as far as his position went. But we'll just have to see, man. I mean, right now, Xbox is doing the best I've seen them do in many years, brother. So I'm not taking anything away from what Phil Spencer has been building in this current generation, because they have been doing some amazing moves, man. Just the fact that and I'm circling back around to last week, but dropped the paywall for free-to-play games. It hasn't happened officially, but we know it's coming. I mean, these are great moves. So once again, all I have is just nothing but claps and just praise for Phil Spencer for what he's done. But as far as that narrative of the Series S not holding back the Series X, I'm still skeptical, brother. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. Hopefully, it's not the case, and the Series X will be able to sing and just show us these amazing graphics and not be held back by the Series S. And I know you had mentioned that if Sony had done the same thing, if Sony was to say that they had, let me read your quote, brother, because I don't want to put words in your mouth. You said, I think if Sony had done a similar move, nobody would ever have made the quote holding back the PS5 argument. You know what? I gotta say this, brother. That is because PlayStation, man, whether you like them or not, the games that they offer, PlayStation games be singing, man. They look amazing. They absolutely look stunning. When you look at God of War or The Last of Us Part 2, or even more recent, Miles Morales, Spider-Man Miles Morales being on the PS4 and the PS5, it looks so good. It's hard to even say, you know what, it is holding it back, because then you look over on the Xbox side and you see a game like Halo Infinite. It's like, oh, shucks, man, it might be a problem here. But if Halo Infinite was on that same graphical fidelity as, let's say, a Miles Morales or Horizon Forbidden West, I don't think anybody would have said anything, but I think most people's alarms start going off when we saw that demo for Halo Infinite, where we were like, this is what the next generation Halo looks like? Are you serious? I think that was like that moment in time when we thought, oh man, this is going to be a major problem. What the heck is going on? But Cody, I think I've been long-winded enough. Brother, you are the OG, man. You've been rocking out with me. Good grief. This podcast is almost 6 years old, brother. And you've been there since like year one, maybe year 1.5. You've been around, brother. So I appreciate you so much, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all of the support that you've given me over the years. I can't thank you enough, brother. Like I said, if it wasn't for Cody Clark, man, I would have been gave up on listener feedback, because at one time before, you Crimson Phoenix and One Subset Tekken and Free Fly Ferret, before you guys that came around, as well as I gotta shout out golly, what's my brother's name? Glove Box. Shout out to Glove Box. Shout out to that good brother. And shout out to Vaughn too, man. Vaughn was calling, man. Shout out to that brother. If you listening to this, Vaughn, I miss you, brother. I would love to hear some of your feedback again, man. So, it was a tumultuous time, in the early days, but Cody kept on writing in. So that's why I call him the OG, man. And I appreciate you, brother. But, let's go ahead, man, and let's move on in to the second email, which is, of course, I just said his name, but I'm going to say it again. Shout out to Crimson Phoenix. This brother has been very active lately, and I appreciate you, brother. Now, the title of his email is, How Far Is He Willing to Go? He says, hello, my friend. Hope all is well. Hey, brother, I'm here, brother, feeling real good, and I'm glad you're here with me, brother. This email, I'm looking forward to getting into it. He says, I just don't know where to start. I mean, all the naysayers, this brother about to go in. He said, all the naysayers preaching about how Xbox has no games. Phil Spencer buys ZeniMax/Bethesda. I'm like, yo, you had me from the get, because I've been enjoying Game Pass since day one. But yeah, the more, the better. But those naysayers and Jim Ryan say they want to pay $70 on their games and they don't see the profitability of putting a AAA game into a service like Game Pass. Not alone, day one, Phil Spencer's like, don't worry, I got this. Flies over to Square Enix and sets a briefcase on that Game Pass money on table, and us believers get Outriders day one. Yeah, Phil Spencer, man, look, I've had my question marks about Phil Spencer. I have not been on board with a lot of the things that he's done with Xbox over the years, but when he does something great, I love giving him his credit. And that ZeniMax Bethesda deal, $7.5 billion, huge move. Absolutely monumental. And then you topple that like my brother Crimson Phoenix said, he flew on over there to Square Enix and said, look, here's the money briefcase, sat it on the table. We need Outriders day and date. Bam! You got it. In Game Pass, day one. Let me continue with your email, brother. He says, if that wasn't enough, oh no, he wasn't done there. Brothers, let me read this correctly. He says he wasn't done there, brothers and sisters. MLB The Show. Yeah, you heard me. A previously exclusive title of Sony. A AAA banger. The best baseball game out there. It's not just finally coming to Xbox. Oh no. It's also gonna be on Game Pass day and date. And all the naysayers are eating crow. Brother, let me tell you, I saw some PlayStation fans. Oh, these brothers was in a state of emergency. Good grief. They was all over the place. The building is on fire. Fire Jim Ryan. We can't stand this guy. This guy's the plague. He's the kryptonite of PlayStation. We can't stand him. Get him out of here. I mean, these guys had podcasts, emergency meetings. I mean, man, people are up in arms with Jim Ryan right now. That's why I asked you guys the question. You know, basically, is Jim Ryan doing is he doing good by the PlayStation owners? Because right now, it don't look like these guys are too happy. And yes, I have to agree with you, Crimson Phoenix. These jokers are eating some crow because that's all you heard the whole time. Xbox Game Pass is just AA fodder. It's no great games in there. They're terrible games. They're old games. They're outdated. I mean, so many things. 360 games are in there. Nothing brand new. And then you get Outriders and you get MLB The Show 21. In the service, day and date. That's just a dagger. Golly, Phil Spencer. Man, that's just a dagger to the chest. He ain't just stab him with the dagger. He twisted that joker right in their back. I mean, this is awesome. I absolutely love it. I'm so glad to see Phil Spencer getting so aggressive right now. But I'm going off on a tangent. Let me finish your email here, brother. He says, seems to me like Phil Spencer is willing to go all the way and is serious about Game Pass, and all those naysayers need to, pardon my French, nut up or shut up. Get Game Pass. It's soon to be everywhere. Get a second console if you have to, and save yourself some money. Just because a game is on Game Pass doesn't mean if you enjoy your game, you can't buy it. Still, in fact, you'll get a discount on every game in the service for being a subscriber. $70 versus $55 or just $15 a month. Very good point. And closing this one out, he says, I can go on, but for the sake of time, I'm out. Thank you, and get your game on in Game Pass. Shout out to you, hey Crimson. Brother, like I say, man, it's always great to hear from you. In this email is it, brother. I mean, this is a celebration. It's a celebration. I mean, Game Pass has come to life. I think we will all remember this moment. as gamers, as Xbox fans, even PlayStation fans, oh, you know they gonna remember because this stings just a little bit. Oh, it hurts, it burns. Oh, it burns. Oh, man, we're gonna remember this as like a turning point where I think Game Pass isn't looked at as the same as it once was. Now, Microsoft, they can't slow down. We get it. I mean, these are fantastic announcements, but they got a lot of ground to make up. But all they have to do is continue to do these kinds of things. It's the optics right now. It's all about how this stuff looks. And I think that for the first time, well, not the first time, I don't want to get too dramatic here, but I think that people are going to start looking at the Xbox. People that probably would have never looked Xbox's way. I mean, it's going to take a while still. I mean, us the hardcore, you guys that are here, we're in the know. We know what Game Pass is, but that doesn't mean that the masses know what this service is. And because of that, it's still going to take some time to get the ball rolling. But I mean, golly, 18 million are already in Game Pass. Might be up to 20 right now. Who the world knows after these different announcements that have happened. So, we'll just have to, just keep our hand on the pulse and just see how this whole thing comes out, because right now, man, Game Pass is winning. And this is that moment that a bit of a shift in the Game Pass narrative, I think, and it's just great to see, man, as a Xbox fan. And I want to mention this too. Now, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but again, you guys remember I've always had a beef with Phil Spencer, always having these games come out on PC, but they would never come out on the console, on Xbox. I think also similar to the deal with Outriders being a Game Pass console exclusive as far as, Game Pass goes, not a console exclusive. Let me say, that's why I said a Game Pass console exclusive. I mean, we know it's on PS4 and 5 or whatever, but similar to that deal, the PC also doesn't have MLB The Show 21 in the Game Pass service either. So I'm like, finally, Phil Spencer is giving value to the console, to the Xbox console. And I'm just happy to see the change. I mean, it's taken a long time, but as it stands right now, Phil Spencer, he's doing a fantastic job. Him and, the Xbox team, because I know he's not doing it alone, but everybody over there, they're doing really good so far, and I'm just so happy to see it. I'm glad to see the competition is starting to, it's starting to come back. Microsoft is fighting back, and I think that's all we have wanted for so many years. And finally, these guys they got some good news. When's the last time you've seen Xbox dominate the news cycle? With PlayStation dominated the whole way through. I talked about it on Sunday, but just circling back to that, it's finally happening where Xbox is being seen in a positive light in the news cycle. It's just awesome. I just hope that they continue to keep this trend going. And Crimson Phoenix, brother, thank you for this email. It was very timely. Matter of fact, like you said, I want to read your quote again, brother. He says, I can go on, but for the sake of time, I'm out. Thank you. And get your game on in Game Pass. Because of that, brother, we giving away a month of Game Pass, God dog. It's a doggone celebration, man. So go ahead, get your pens, get your Crayolas, and get your paper ready, man, because God dog it. This is for a month of Game Pass Ultimate. I want everybody to enjoy this, or whoever gets this code. I ain't got enough for everybody, but whoever gets this code, please enjoy MLB or whatever the heck you want to play. So here is the code right now. It is C9KW3J6M. M as in, like I said, Michael. J6MTMGJPP9 2MGXGF7KMZ. Once again, I might not have been clear. Let me reread it again, brothers. It is C9KW3J6MTMGJPP9 2MGXGF7KMZ. So yeah, write that down, man. Whoever gets it, call into the show, write into the show. Let me know you got it so I can shout you out. You probably ain't gonna call, you might not, but hey, shout out to you. Whoever wins, I would love to hear from you just to congratulate you. But let me go ahead and move on, and please enjoy that. But let me go ahead and get to the next email. And once again, Crimson Phoenix, thank you so much, brother. I look forward to hearing from you next week. Hopefully you will have time. Hopefully you, Cody Clark, you'll have time as well. Because I love having these shows where I can just focus on you guys. Because it's you guys' show. This is y'all show, brothers. So let me go ahead and get into the next email here. Oh, one sub said, you hit me up 2 times, brother. I love it, man. So let's get into your first email here. Now, the title of his first email is, We've All Been Suckered. Oh, shucks, what is going on? One sub said, take it. He says, hello, Kiaun. I hope all is well with you, and hopefully you're getting ready to embrace this warm weather. Let me tell you something, brother. It feels so good here in Baltimore right now. It's like 73 degrees, and I'm loving it, brother. After the winter, going up to Buffalo, New York, and frigid, cold conditions, brother. Yes, it feels very, very good. It's very, very nice. Let me continue with your email here. He says, you asked the question about Nintendo not giving us AAA experiences. He says, all I can say is I feel that we have been giving them a pass on everything. My man, that's what I'm talking about. He says from graphics, online games, and what's up with their online party groups. Talk about it, my brother. Talk about it. He says, I can't say they put out unfinished games because, to be honest, I don't buy enough of their products. No, their games are pretty... I don't see them getting a lot of updates and patches and stuff like that. I got to give Nintendo credit for that. Nah, I've never got like an update. Well, I'm not on the Switch like a ton, to be fair, but I haven't seen it. Maybe. Who knows? But let me continue with your email here. He says because they're not appealing and they lack a lot of things Sony and Microsoft provide without question. He says, looking from the Sony and Microsoft side, like I've stated before, we deserve better from Nintendo. Yes, we do. Why do we keep taking this from Nintendo? I understand they the OGs and they saved gaming and all of this stuff, but why do we not say, come on, Nintendo, get with the program? Anyway, brother, let me get back to your email. My apologies. Getting ready to go on a whole nother tangent. He says, like you said, they should be competing for our dollars. Shaking my head. They off in their own circle makes no sense. I want to like Nintendo more, but over the years since the Wii, they haven't given me much. Yes, I own a Switch, but outside of Animal Crossing, NBA 2K19, and the Marvel Alliance game, I don't have much to play with their current console. I really could go on and on about their shortcomings, but I'll end it here. I've been looking at Nintendo side-eye and will continue until they start to compete. As always, oh man, preach! As always, wash your face, hands, and butt, and please, wear a mask. I added all those pleases in there. He says, I'm right there with you, Kiaun. Why do people walk around without any face covering and want to invade your space is beyond me. I couldn't agree more. It burns me up, brother. I'm like, good grief. Look, you see me with the mask on. Why you doggone darn there peeping over my shoulder? Good grief, man. I need the 6 feet, brothers. I need the doggone footage, to keep safe distance. I mean, good grief, COVID is still a real thing. Let me finish your email here, brother. He says, P.S. Oh, man, he calling out Sir William. Man, Sir William, where the world you been at, brother? You got to right back in. He says, P.S. Sir William X, I'll take you up on Soul Calibur, but decline on Madden. I don't need that. He said, I don't need that embarrassment in my life. He says, however, I invite you to consider DOA and Virtual Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Why not food? No, he said, why not? Food for thought. Man, brother, one subset, Tekken. Yeah, I had to pardon my voice, man. I think I'm a little too hype. Think I'm excited, man. I am. It just feels good to see Microsoft just fighting, man, and they got good news going. But I agree with you 100%. I mean, it's like I said, I don't know why Nintendo gets away with what they get away with. I just don't understand it. I hadn't been cool with Nintendo for years. After the N64, man, listen, N64 was horrible. It was a bad. All right, wait. All right, hold on. Don't jump on my back. Hold on. Let me clarify. The controller. The controller was a game changer. I mean, its effects are felt to this day. I mean, the analog sticks completely changed gaming. It changed it. I mean, Glovebox, he was mentioning, Nintendo in his last email. Shout out to that good brother, man. It's always great to hear from him. But the controller and that Rumble technology, man, the Rumble Pack, revolutionary. They did an awesome job, something gaming had never experienced before. But outside of that controller, those games, the launch, do you guys remember the N64's launch? They had Mario 64. That was it. Then a couple of months later, I think Wave Racer 64 came out. And, man, I can't even remember some of the other games that came out. But it was an abysmal launch. It wasn't good at all. It was reminiscent of Xbox Series X when that was released. It wasn't really any new content or anything like that. Nothing appealing. I mean, Mario 64 ended up being a huge game, big success. But after the N64, I was like, man, this is just ridiculous at this point. Here it is, Nintendo. They don't want to convert the CD-ROM. They're like, no, we want to do it our way. It's like, God dog, man. And then, so after N64, I checked out. I mean, the Wii, I believe I did have the Wii. I did. But it wasn't for me. But, I got that. But yeah, N64, that was just it, man. I mean, just for the sake of collecting consoles, I have the Wii and the Wii U, which, I don't regret it because it's memorabilia. That's the way I look at it. But yeah, Nintendo needs to be held to a higher standard. It wasn't until the Switch happened that I really enjoyed Nintendo. I'm going to tell you, Super Mario Odyssey is what did it, man. I played that, and that one part got me in the heart, man. It touched my heart bone. I said, God dog, man, this is just magic. This is so magical. But still, yeah, Nintendo, they shouldn't be getting away with these remasters that they're making, always being behind the not the eight ball, but just behind the curve. Here it is, you got Microsoft and Sony. They killing themselves to get our money. All kinds of new services being introduced online, cutting prices of games. Nintendo don't cut their prices of their games. They don't cut their console prices till like 20 years old. It's ridiculous. We deserve better. Nintendo, compete out this mother lover. That's all I'm saying. But Free Fly Ferret, I'm sorry, God dog it. One subset Tekken. Thank you for the email. I'm all mixed up right now. Pardon me. I jumped to the next email. But we're going to get into your other email in a little bit. One subset Tekken. But shout out to you, brother. Now up next, I already mentioned his name. I just said it a little too early. But Mr. Free Fly Ferret, fly, brother, fly. Now the title of this good brother's email is called, oh man, I already like the title. You guys are real positive on Xbox this week like me. We all on the same page. He says, well, the title of his email is The Emerald King. He says, my brother. That's that brother's tagline right there. My brother. He says, all is well. Okay. Let me get into this. Hold on. He says, all is well across the Emerald Kingdom as our great and glorious leader Phil Spencer sits upon the throne. It's all coming together over at Microsoft as it appears they've been playing chess while Sony seems content to keep playing checkers. Oh, this brother right here. He says, MLB is a sign of things to come. I urge everyone with Game Pass to download these games, even if you don't intend to play. If other companies see success with these games, they'll join the day one Game Pass party. Free Fly Ferret. He says, keep up the good work. Loving the show. Shout out to you, man. It's always so good. Man, listen, man, it brings me joy. It truly, truly does. It brings me so much joy to be able to read you good brothers' emails. I'm going horse on the spot right now as we speak. But man, it's so good to hear from y'all, man. And just like you said, Free Fly, everything is going great, man. Everything is going well. Phil Spencer, he's doing his thing. They're playing chess out here. I mean, this was so calculated. Good grief. I mean, now this isn't my thought. I heard this on a podcast. I forgot if it was Unlocked. I can't remember the podcast. I don't want to take credit for it because it's not my thought. But the person, they said that it was so calculated because Phil Spencer, when he announced this, it was like the day after the opening pitch of the season. So it was like right there at the beginning when the MLB season was starting, and just such perfect calculation. And then they didn't have it on April 1st because we would have thought it was an April Fool's joke. April 2nd, the announcement comes out. So yeah, Phil Spencer, those guys over at Xbox, they're doing a really good job right now. And I don't, want to pump them up too much, but it just feels good to hear this kind of news. All they have to do is just continue to do these kinds of moves, Free Fly Ferret, because it's all about optics. That's the word of the generation right there. It's optics. It's always been that, but just the fact that you have the casual audience. Now, us, the hardcore, of course, we know better. We understand that, just because a game shows up on a PlayStation commercial, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily only available on that platform. But for the average casual, and I mean, maybe that, I don't want to, say that. Let's just say maybe to a person that's not in the loop, as much as a hardcore gamer, they would think, okay, it's a PlayStation commercial. Obviously, it's just on PlayStation, when that's not the case. But if Phil Spencer can use that same logic, and I mean, they've both been using it. Both Xbox and PlayStation have been doing this for years. Xbox, Call of Duty, they had that on lock for so long. People thought it was exclusive to the Xbox brand, especially with the maps coming 30 days early. And you guys know how it goes, man. But if Phil Spencer can use Game Pass, similar to how they would do the exclusive maps and all of this exclusive DLC or Tom DLC, if the deals that Phil Spencer and the Xbox team can make now would be that these games, and I know this is pie in the sky dreams, I know that, but I'm just saying, just for optics sake, if they can make it where these games are going day and date in Game Pass, and you show that on a commercial, join Game Pass for $1, let's just say that, or $10 a month, or $15, and you get this game as well as 300 other games in the service. It's all about mind share and optics. That would be huge. And then just going back to one of your emails, Cody, the email you just sent during this show, with the Series S being as cheap as it is, being able to get into the ecosystem is not that expensive. I understand mileage may vary. $300 could be very expensive to the next person, but considering how much it used to be to get into the next generation of gaming. $300 is, man, I haven't seen that since the first PlayStation, god dog, it being able to get into a new generation for that price point. So Microsoft were very, very smart to do that. I'm definitely not taking that away from them. Ain't no need even going back into that argument right there, Cody. But what I'm saying is, just the accessibility, how much it costs. Once you get into the ecosystem, how much you get for your money. I mean, the optics, the way they set this up, it could really put them in a great position where, like I was talking about just a couple of minutes ago, where people that would have never considered the Xbox brand, they would be looking at it saying, well, shucks, man, if I can save a couple bucks, I mean, hey, why wouldn't I do this? Why not? So, I mean, I think it's just fantastic that this is happening. And I just want them to continue to keep the ball rolling. That's all they have to do, man, is just stay on this path because they're doing such a really, really good job. They're doing great. But once again, man, thank you for this email, Free Fly Ferret. It's always great to hear from you, brother. And hopefully you'll have the time to write in again next week. I always love reading your thoughts, brother. And looks like closing us out with the last email. Man, we had 45 minutes. I had no idea we were recording this long, brother. I had no idea. God, dog, that time went by fast. All right, one subset. You're going to take us out into the sunset this week, my brother. Now, the title of his email is Digital End. That's crazy. The title of your email, Digital End. And this is about to be this is the last email of the show, which is going to end the show. That's crazy. He says, hello, Kiaun. Hope all is well with you, brother. Like I said, man, I'm striving and surviving, brother. He says, in Florida, enjoying the heat. Man, excuse me. Says, enjoying the heat, frying some fish, ASCL. Write this. Maybe I'm missing what the ASCL is, brother. Pardon me on that. He says, okay, Sony has come out and said they are closing the PS3 and Vita stores. And there was another, I can't remember, but this is scary for me who doesn't want to go digital. Yeah, you can download old purchases, but no new in-game purchases. I just thought about this, and if Sony says you can't download anything, we're just closing it in 2022. You are short, or you run and find a hard drive to put your games on. Shaking my head. He says, I just want to own my games physically. Yeah, me too, brother. I'm not really, don't get me wrong. I got quite a few games downloaded, but I got a whole lot more physical than I do digital. He says, I don't want to go digital, and this is why. At any moment, the store will close. Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo can have the ability to do this. That's a very good point. He says, call me a grumpy old man, but I'd rather have a physical disc. On another note, the Mortal Kombat movie is going to release soon, but it seems to me that Ed Boon and NetherRealm has been quiet. Is it just me? But shouldn't they be hinting at some type of movie tie-in? Good question. That's fair. He says, well, I'm done. Till next time. This is his tagline. Wash your face, hands, and butt, and please wear a mask. Peace. Yeah, they are absolutely closing down the store. Jim Ryan, like I said, man, we all know this guy's stance on older games. He says, who the world wants to play older games when you got all this hot new stuff to play? He didn't say that, of course, but basically in so many words. But yeah, definitely raises that question about digital only media, meaning that, just like you said, them closing down the store. Matter of fact, they closed it down so abruptly that some developers didn't even know that the store was closing and they weren't going to be able to put their game on the store. So that's how much of a just how fast this happened. The developers weren't given a heads up, and yeah, they were just as shocked as everybody else. So that's pretty poor communication. That reminds me of Nintendo. Nintendo have been arrogant like that for years. So many times Nintendo has done stuff, sent out their kits, and the people are calling trying to figure out, well, how do we, code on your dev kit? And they're like, we'll get back to you one day. One day soon, they emailing them, calling the number disconnected and whatnot, and they couldn't get in contact. So yeah, this just seems to me, a bit, maybe not arrogant, because, who knows what the financials look like, but it is a bad look that Jim Ryan couldn't give some of these developers a heads up that the store is closing at this date and time, where these guys are working hard on a game thinking they're going to be able to release it onto the store, just to be told, oh no, we shutting that down. So yeah, it just goes back to that question of going digital. How much of a risk are you taking going digital? And I know that some people would say, owning the physical disc doesn't necessarily mean that you'll have, I guess, 100% ownership, because if the game does need a patch or an upgrade or something like that, where the game might not, or the console might not be online anymore, that could affect it as well. But I'll say this, man, as an old school gamer myself, similar to you, one subset. Excuse me, brother. I feel the same way. I feel much better having the physical disc than not. At least I feel like, hey, at least I have it here. So if I do want to pop it in, I don't have to worry about going through the store, worrying about the store being shut down or anything like that. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. And there were some people that were pretty upset about this, who believe, similar to myself, I really want gaming to be, to live on. I think it needs to be preserved. That's history. That's gaming history there. And just to hear that over 100 games are going to be lost forever, unless PlayStation does something with PS Now and put those games over there. But just the fact that this is a possibility of that much gaming history just being erased all at one time, it's a bit alarming, And I know it's gaming. It's nothing critical to life, but it's a hobby that we love, man. It's something that we enjoy. We invest in these consoles. We invest in these companies. We invest in these games. So just the fact that some of this history of gaming could be gone forever, that's just not a good look for me, in my personal opinion. But yeah, we'll have to see, man, what happens with this one subset, Tekken, because that definitely leads to a really good point. If we buy all of these games digitally, what could happen? Eventually they could just shut down, just like PlayStation did the store for the PS3 and the Vita. So yeah, it's definitely a reason to be concerned. I would, because Nintendo, golly, let's go back to them again. I ain't beating up on Nintendo, but I'm just stating what has happened. It was at one point, I don't know if it was on the Wii U or the Wii, but certain games that you downloaded digitally, they did not carry over to the next console. So you had to buy those same games over again on the next platform. That's anti-consumer as a mother. Now, I don't know what they're going to do with the Switch and the Switch Pro. We know that's allegedly supposed to be a thing. We don't know 100%, but I don't know how they're going to handle it with that. But I think that in this climate, I don't think Nintendo would be able to get away with that. Or it might have been with the DS or the 3DS. Something digital just wouldn't carry over. You had to buy it again. And people just took it. Imagine if Microsoft and Sony had tried to do something like that. That's what I'm saying. This double standard with Nintendo needs to stop. They should be held just as accountable as the other two. Even more so. They the OGs in this. God dog, man, lead by example. God darn it. Shucks. Here it is. You got Sony and Microsoft making all of these moves. And granted, Nintendo has done some innovative things. I'm not taking that away from them. But God dog, man, come on, Nintendo. Gee whiz. Anyway, one subset Tekken. Thank you for this email, brother. God, dog, this show was almost an hour long. Man, time flies, brothers. Time flies. But I want to shout you guys out again. Once again, shout out to Free Fly Ferret. Shout out to Cody Clark. Shout out to Crimson Phoenix. And shout out to One Subset Tekken. Thank you, brothers, man, for writing in. It's always appreciated to hear from you guys. I absolutely love it. It brings me a lot of joy, man. It truly, truly does. But listeners, people listening right now, if you want to be a part of the next listener feedback, once again, do it two different ways. Either call in at 443-216-9934 and let that voice of yours be heard, or you can email the show, and the email address is simply theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and once again, thank all of you guys for being here. Thank you guys for the great, fantastic support. I really appreciate it. And with that being said, man, we are out of here until Sunday, because Sunday, I ain't got one story written. We're going to see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. We'll try to brew something up. But until that time, you guys take care, play some games, and enjoy yourself.